Yo, yo. Welcome to another video. Today we're looking at weekly challenge teams, like what teams are the best teams for each boss. And yeah, if you want if you want a quick recap, I haven't quite made it yet, but in the Discord server, the link in the description as always, there is a tab called Weekly Auric Boss Tactics, and I will be updating this. It's not quite up to date, but in this video I will be like going more in depth, like explaining why certain things are good. Um, but yeah, some things are like basically there for every team. Um, and I'm gonna be talking about capped teams in this video, basically like the optimal setup you can have. This is important because otherwise it would be a million different teams, of course, and also because that way I can filter out some things. Because thanks to a certain LR cell, for example, Blue Renji is always gonna be the best backup. We can quickly tab out and go to him. If I don't miss him, there he is. Okay, so when ally character uses an active skill and deals damage, if the target has all stats reduction effects, deals extra damage equal to 15% of the damage dealt. So just a flat 15% damage increase, which is so crazy overpowered that it basically outvalues all other backups, in my opinion. So for example, me, even with my extremely trash C-Naki and barely any Augiri Force talents, I still have over 900,000 with this team, which is very nice. Another character that's gonna make it into every single team is gonna be Nico. Even without his cell, he would kind of just nearly always be there, but his cell is like extremely overpowered. So you have it right here. In PvE battles, when using an active skill, additionally loses 10% of max HP and can increases attack-related stats of the ally with the highest initial attack by 10%, so just a flat 10% increase. And the next active skill is increased by 20%, up to 3 stacks. So if you like use a Nico each round, that's gonna stack. It's gonna stack like extremely hard. You're gonna get a disgustingly high score. So that's why Nico is kinda also just the GOAT. Now, you're also always gonna have either Sen in the team. I prefer Sen because you can just spam tier 3 cards, or Uta. I prefer Sen, although some people do prefer Uta, and I believe I might be wrong, but this is gonna be hard. I believe because he does have a cell. And it's not here. I might be wrong, but I think he has a cell. But for me, Sen is always going to be better just because I can spam these tier 3 actives and it just makes my life way easier. So basically, for most teams, these 3 cards right here are going to be in the team forever. Like they are too goated. And Hide kinda also makes it into every team. I mean, maybe there's some like exceptions, but pretty much these 4 assists here, they are like so good, and that you can basically always play exactly these 4. Just because otherwise it would be a bit too boring, I'm gonna go into some other assists that you can use in every team, or in some teams. But for example, well, backups like Blue Arima for every team, Green Toka for Anteku, Tanabata Hinami for Anteku. These are all bad. You can use Blue Hinami on the field for Anteku as well. Pretty good support. Mass Kaneki for Aogiri. Ryoko backup for Anteku is also really, really good. Eto is one of the best for Aogiri on field. Like, she gives crazy good buffs for Aogiri. I guess Vashu is pretty good for CCG. And Green Uta can work, however, it doesn't really function that well, sadly. Uta already mentioned. Bunny with the cell in the backup position has some potential, but it's not the best, of course. Itori works in every team. It's just pretty outdated, but for the early game, very solid. In the backup for CCG, Mado of course also works. He's pretty good. And well, the rest here is kind of just ass. Yeah. But now for like the main damage dealers, like the main setup. So for example, I currently have Red Mado as my boss. So I want a blue character versus it. If I have a blue boss, I want a green character, and if I have a green boss, I want a red character. Well, or attack speed skill, of course. Attack being red, speed blue, and skill green. So for a red boss, I mean you could filter it, right? But I believe that Naki is the best option. Renji is extremely strong still. If I swap in Renji and let's say put I don't know, blue Arima in the backup position, I'm fairly confident that I can still get a score of like 800,000. It should be very easily possible. But Naki in a capped scenario is just gonna do more damage than Renji. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, this is like a 1 year old character support backup, and this is an actual damage dealer support for Aogiri, who is more like new in the game. Apart from these two, I mean, I've seen people get crazy amount of scores with Blue Juzo. I don't know how good it is. It probably is really good if you're a really stacked CCG player, but Naki is probably still better, although I'm not entirely sure about that. Blue Kaneki is the OG. For new players, he's like gonna be the go-to for like speed, but he isn't really that great anymore. However, you can still get like 600k or 700k probably. I've actually had more success with Renji, which is kind of funny. But yeah, apart from these guys, I mean, Mr. MM, you can definitely also get a decent score with him, but it's not gonna be anything fantastic. I mean, you can also get a score with like Nishiki or Tatara, but it's just gonna be ass. Like they're not meant for this kind of stuff. Now, if the boss was green instead, we'd be using strength characters, right? And for strength, there's also not too many options actually. Um, for Anteiku, you can like use Anniversary Toka or Natsuken. I don't know who's better actually, because yeah, he is single target, but he's just shit. She is like way better than him. But she's AoE, so it's hard to say, but I'm not entirely sure who actually hits harder. That being said, for CCG and probably the overall GOAT actually is gonna be Red Arima if you have his LR cell and if you have a really stacked Red Arima. He probably can get the high scores. I've seen 1 million before with him. I haven't seen a million with any other strength attribute characters. And yes, the strength tab is pretty dead, honestly. Nothing here is really that good. Red Amon is like the budget version of Red Arima if you don't have to sell, and he hits really hard. I could probably get like 700 to 800,000 using my triple S Red Amon, which is still a really insane score. But it's gonna get outdone by a person who does have the Red Arima cell. It's just gonna do more damage. Natsu Kenya, he's just trash and she's AoE, so yeah. Strength is kind of struggling for boss fights. For the blue boss, so speed boss, you're gonna be using skill, of course, and skill has quite the like big amount of options. There's just one issue. The new Kaneki, who would be like the most insane damage dealer for the boss fight, simply doesn't work because of his trigger. His end of round trigger will always one shot the boss, and it doesn't do enough damage for it to be like a reliable source for the points. So you just can't use him, and it really sucks because he would do like insane numbers. Um, but yeah, you can't use him, so that's really annoying. And I wish I could use him, but yeah, it's a bit rough. So for Anteiku, Green Toka is still the GOAT. Does incredible amounts of damage, really, really OP character still. Um, Probably on the same exact level is gonna be Green Jason for Aogiri. I mean, he does nuts damage too. Really, really hard hitter. So he is probably on par with Green Toka, if not better, actually. Um, I haven't tested it. I don't really know, honestly, who of the two is better. And with Green Uta, you can actually get an insane score too. I've seen people get like 800,000 using a triple S Green Uta, which is kind of funny because it's a support character. But he hits really fucking hard. And Green Arima. So the Green Arena setup is a bit difficult because you can't use these cards. Or well, I guess you can. The thing is, either you kill the boss with the attack itself or with the trigger. And with the attack, you will get more points, so you do still have a chance with these cards. And you kind of have to use them in that scenario, because otherwise he will trigger, and you aren't gonna get like your optimal score, right? But that's basically the main guys. So for Anteko, it's gonna be Toka. For Augiri, Jason, and for CCG, it's gonna be Garima. And I guess for Anteko or No or specifically, it's gonna be like Uta. Because the others aren't really that great in a burst, like single turn burst scenario. Like Green Almond, for example, his one active isn't really gonna be that great in this compared to like World Boss. And now the final two categories are of course gonna be Wit and Psych. So for Psych, there's a clear winner. Basically, well, if the boss is Psych, so if you have the Psych Toka as your boss, um, the clear winner is gonna be Yamori. He simply hits like by far the hardest. Although with Arima is like number two. Number three is probably gonna be Centipede, and number four Noro, and then Wit Owl. And Noro and Wit Owl are AoE characters, and Centipede is just kinda ass. With Arima is still really strong in this boss. You can get over 1 million with Green Arima, but with Yamori you can get like 1.4 million. Like if you're like endgame stacked, you can get like you can push like incredibly far using Yamori. Um, with Arima probably too, but I believe Yamori is simply the better choice actually in this scenario. And if the boss is Shachi, oh yeah, of course you can also use Shachi. I don't have Shachi. I don't think anyone's borrowing their triple S. Yeah, no one's flexing it right now. But yeah, you could also use Shachi. If the boss is Shachi, there's some options. So the clear winner, like by far, is gonna be Uta. He is simply, and not Uta, Shu. He is simply the goat. You can push way past 1 million. I saw a screenshot of Ui months ago being the first player to go past 1 million points. And now, yeah, he if he like still played like back then, he would be hitting ridiculous numbers. Amon is also pretty good. The problem with Amon is his trigger. He has the start of round trigger. Um, that is gonna ruin the turn 3 strat. So it doesn't work that optimally. Psy Ayado also could work, but the problem is that you aren't allowed to use Nico or any other Augiri supports, because if you use their active, he's gonna trigger, and the trigger is gonna kill the boss. Like it does more than enough damage to kill the boss, and it doesn't do enough damage for a good point score. Uta simply doesn't do enough damage. Most of his damage is gonna come from like the burn at the end and the trigger, which both doesn't happen because the boss is already dead. Psy Arima is an AoE character that doesn't do a lot of single target burst damage. And Kuzan does work pretty decently. I think if you have a stacked endgame Kuzan, he's probably the second best option in here after Shu, of course. Um, so yeah, that's everything for this video. Pretty simple and short video. Um, I can try and showcase my setup. Actually, I'm gonna just to show you guys. I'm gonna well, if the game actually loads, um, I'm gonna go change my setup real quick on the Naki, and we're gonna try to get a bit of a nicer score. Let's say we are gonna give him the full attack cells, we are gonna give him the full rainbow setup, and we are gonna give him I guess this like quickly. Also, wait, new pinnacle teams. I haven't looked yet. It just updated. And we have the most CP by far if we update our team. Uh, Never mind. We have the second most CP because this is Cliff right here. And he is gonna do terrible, terrible things to me. But we should pass this round. But yeah, I am hiding my CP. But yeah, let's get right into it. I need to try and use an Uta active in each round if that's possible. And yeah, let's hope that that is actually possible. So bam, 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 bam. Well, actually, since Hide allows us to cast multiple times, we don't even need to use 3 Uta cards. We can also just use 2 in the current round, although as you can see, we kind of just have enough Utas for this and Nikos for this anyways, which makes our life a bit easier. So what I'm gonna do now is bam, 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 bam. That should work pretty well. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's a lot of damage. Okay, we got less than our max score, but yeah, this is to like show you guys the setup. And as you can see, it works pretty damn well. And even our trash Naki will hit for these absurd numbers. But yeah, that's everything that I had planned for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.